बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि।
बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि।
धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि।
धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि।
संघं शरणं गच्छामि।
संघं शरणं गच्छामि.
Our next presenter is Khenpo Namgyel Wangdi, and he's going to be speaking on creative visualization in the generation stage of Karen daily yoga practice and the breath to purify our obscurations. Khenpo Namgyel Wangdi is trained under the enlightened guidance of the great master Tralok Kudrup Khenle Yelshen, alias Ngawang Lekshe Japso Rinpoche at Lekshe Chungli Shedra in Drupde Punaka. Upon completing philosophical studies and meditational practices, he served as a lecturer at the Sane Institute. He studied Sanskrit and Pali in India and Sri Lanka, respectively. He has done postgraduate work at Hong Kong University. Currently, he serves as spiritual advisor for Long Quang Pagoda in Vietnam and promotes Buddhism in Vietnam. Khenpo Namgyel Wangdi.
Good morning, and Kuzambo to Jira, Mr. Jampa, and all the people here. I'm going to speak on the crucial techniques and object of purification in generation stage in the practice of deity yoga. First of all, I would like to second the thought of my colleague, co-speaker, Mr. Joseph, that we are so grateful to our Majesty, and we Buddhists believe him as the Dharmati, and we worship him as everything. And because we, by our first hand, we know that how much he is caring for his subject, how much enlightened he is to lead us. So we are really grateful to our Majesty and the entire monarch. Then let me pay homage to my root teacher. So deity yoga is a very, very advanced, profound and fast practice in Vajrayana Buddhism. That's why Tsongkhapa in his Nagrin says deity yoga is the only practice that differentiates Vajrayana Buddhism from the other schools of Buddhism. And this deity yoga practice is prescribed through the tantras. There are many different tantras, many different versions, many different categories, but commonly and popularly accepted is that 4 tantras: Kriya Tantra, Charya Tantra, Yoga Tantra, and Ani-Yoga Tantra. And this deity yoga practice is done through 2 advanced practices called the Utpatti Krama, generation or creation stage, and then the Sampanaka, which is the completion stage. So here again, this is a very, very vast subject, so I'm only going to speak about the generation stage. In the generation stage also we have lots and lots of different practices. I'm going to speak on the visualization techniques in the generation stage. Visualization technique is all over in the Vajrayana Buddhist practices. And visualization here means not only working with the visual object, visual sense organ, and visual consciousness, but it is more about working with the mind. And so visualization practice, we have two different approaches. The first one is a gradual approach and then instantaneous approach. In the gradual approach, here also we have, because we have 4 different tantras and many different ways to do the visualization practice, I just pick up on one tantra, which is from the Yoga Tantra, visualization with 3 rituals, Shoga Suje. The first ritual is the ritual of visualizing the seed syllable of the enlightened speech, Sui Yudute Shoga. This, at the beginning of the practice, we visualize the seed syllable. Seed syllable is sometimes it is a single sound or multiple sound, but usually it's single sound and single letter or combination of few letters. If you look at the screen, that is Shri, the seed syllable of Avalokiteshvara. This is single sound, but it's combination of 5 letters. First, the root letter is Ha, and then Ra, A, E, and Risar. So this is combination of 5 letters, creating one single sound. Seed syllable is the condensed formula of the deity and its mantra. At the beginning, why we visualize seed syllable is that to create more stronger, more stable concentration, because this has lesser details, and then later we have to go in many details, creating many features, postures of the deity. So that's why it is beneficial for at the beginning to visualize the seed syllable. And the second ritual is the ritual of visualizing the emblem of enlightened mind. Through Shaksankeli Shoga, every deity has its own emblem. Here it's the Vajra. Vajra is the emblem of the Vajra Sattva. So after visualizing the seed syllable, then seed syllable transforms into the Vajra, which is the emblem. Sometimes it is marked by another seed syllable. Sometimes it's only the emblem. Then through that emblem, emanating lots of rays of light, reaching to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in different direction, offering with different kinds of offering, and then the lights returning back to the seed syllable and emblem. So the third ritual is the ritual of visualizing the entire enlightened body of the deity. Here now the emblem transforms into the full-fledged body of the deity, the chosen deity. So in the visualizing this full body also, depending on what practice you are doing. So sometimes it is single figure, sometimes it's with embrace with its consort. Sometimes it's multiple figures with multiple retinue. And then in the visualization, you have 2 different visualizations. First one is it's called the front visualization. Front visualization, oneself remaining is as the ordinary being. Then we visualize the deity at the term of the practitioner. So that is one way. And there is another way for front visualization, visualizing the deity in the space above, but in front, the practitioner and the deity facing towards each other. And another one is the self-visualization, oneself, the practitioner visualizing oneself as the chosen deity, exchanging the identity of ordinary being to the identity of enlightened being, the deity. So in whatever visualization, front visualization or the self-visualization, these three crucial key factors are very, very important. So first one is the vivid feature, recollection of purity, second one, and then third one is the divine pride. First, vivid feature is that whatever visualization you may do, that visualization should be very, very accurate, as clear as possible, and then as precise as possible. In the practice manuals, we have that it says that the deity, visualized deity, should be as clear as the reflection of moon in still water or beautiful rainbow in the clear sky. And the second key feature is the recollection of the purity. So whatever features the deity may have, all these features are reflection of enlightened qualities. For example, if the deity is one-faced deity, then that means all dharmas are realized as one, the concept of one face. Three faces means three enlightened bodies, 2 arms, method and wisdom, 4 arms, the 4 immeasurable thoughts, 2 legs, Shila and Samadhi, the moral conduct and the concentration. Cross-legged means realization of the equality of samsara and nirvana. So these are more details. And so again here in the recollection there are 3 more very important aspects. The reflecting on the meanings of the features of the deity is called purity of the nature processor, male and female deity, Chuchen Hadal Hamritapa. And the second one is the purity of great blissful awareness, Brahmi, Deshinditapa. Because I'm talking about the generation stage is preparation for the completion stage. In the completion stage, we have the practice of chakras, bindu, nadi, and all that. So, generation practice prepares your body. Hence, the body becomes more lighter, more blissful. So it is called the purity of great blissful awareness. And then the third one is called the purity of suchness, dharmata, whatever practice or visualization one may do, that is emptiness. But that is appearance. But that appearance is not different from the emptiness. So union of appearance and emptiness is called the purity of suchness. And the third key feature is divine pride. This feature is the most important feature in the visualization practice. Without divine pride, visualization practice can be just a play of imagination. Then what is divine pride? Divine pride is the strong, unshakable confidence that if you realize oneself as the deity, then you need to have that stable confidence, strong confidence that I am the deity, enlightened deity itself, not the ordinary being. And yes. And the second approach is instantaneous visualization. So in the instantaneous visualization, you don't need to go through all these long process of visualizing the seed cerebral and creating the emblem of the deity. You just, after seeking refuge and cultivating bodhicitta, you immediately arise yourself as the chosen deity. So that is instantaneous visualization. That is called Kechi. And the object of purification. Generally, in generation stage, the object of purification is the egocentric experience, the strong clinging of I on the mind and body, we think as I. So that is the common general object of purification in generation stage. Specifically, we have three different key features that purifies the three different aspects of an ordinary being. An ordinary being will have first ordinary aspect, feeling ordinariness, and then second one is the appearance aspect, and the third one is clinging aspect. So the first key feature, vivid feature, purifies the ordinary aspect. Ordinary aspect, because we feel ourselves as ordinary, whatever we see, whatever we hear, everything as ordinary. Now the vivid feature purifies this. And then the second one, the purity of recollection of purity purifies the appearance aspect. Again, whatever we see, whatever we experience, we cling to that as it appears. But now here the recollection of purity replaces that feeling, and then clinging aspect. Whenever we have this clinging on the mind and body as I, that is very strong, strong grasp. So the and then the divine pride purifies that. Divine pride also has similar character, very strong confidence that the visualized deity is myself. Visualize, let me skip this. And then visualization of Samaya Sattva. Here again we have three different beings: Samaya Sattva, Jnana Sattva, and Samadhi Sattva. Samaya Sattva is that in the front visualization or the self-visualization, whatever you visualize, that is called Samaya Sattva. Because the enlightened being does not have any kind of form or shape, but because of their pledge, commitment during their practice, so they appear as the visualized form. The Jnana Sattva is the true nature of that deity, the true being, true enlightened aspect of that being. So this does not have any form or shape. But after visualizing the Samaya Sattva, then the practitioner summon this enlightened nature of that true that deity and merges with the Samaya Sattva. And then the last one is the Samadhi Sattva. Samadhi Sattva, as indicated by the term itself, Samadhi means concentration. After creating the Samaya Sattva, summoning the Jnana Sattva, the practitioner visualizes the seed syllable encircled by the mantra at the heart of the Samaya Sattva. During the practice, when one starts chanting, reciting the mantra, keeps the focus of concentration on that. That is called Samadhi Sattva. Okay, let me skip this. And the benefits of the generation or the visualization practice: increasing longevity, sound health, good lifestyle, and most importantly, that enfeebles the egocentric experiences, the ego. So those are all indications of progressive path, and I think I'm done. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Kepala.
Our ordinariness, but at the same time, my perception at this point when I listen to you, I have the feeling of, does it have any relationship to our subtle egos? And if so, how do we put that in check so that every day we really experience the profound ordinariness? If there is any relationship between the divine pride and the subtle ego.
Thank you very much for the question. Actually, I didn't go into detail in my presentation because I was so afraid that I may exceed the time, and I may make you all feel just like Tashu Sanani was saying on the first day, that you may all feel that today I feel how. So I made it very short. So the ego, actually the ego, the ordinary ego and the pride, the divine pride has similar character. Not same, but similar character in the sense that both are grasping strongly on something. The ordinary ego, it grabs on the mind and body as I very strongly. And in the divine pride, in the practice of divine pride, also that we need to have that strong confidence that I am the real divine deity, enlightened deity. Then it transforms the ordinary ego because this there is a practice called related to divine pride called Namdam Theory. During the practice, we have that divine pride, but post-practice, also we need to have that whatever appears as the form of the deity, the beings are female and male deities, whatever sound we hear as the mantra of the deity, and whatever thoughts we have, that enlightened thought, wisdom, and loving kindness, compassion, and so on and so forth. Thank you.